We're going to be checking out the Season 18 lore for PZRP. I'm pretty hyped for this, of course. Been playing since Season 15, and what we're going to do today is we're going to go through the trailer. I have the lore right here. I actually have full access to the lore document you can see at the top there. No, I'm kidding. That just has like links. Yeah, we're going to go through this all. Check it out. Check out the character that I have made and some of my plans for this season. We're going to be doing newspapers for sure. I'm excited for it, of course. I haven't watched the trailer yet. I've saved myself from spoiling it, so this is going to be a live first reaction. Now, let's see.
A lot of stuff in my line of work over the years. Horrible stuff. Stuff that makes you wonder what a person is capable of doing to another. Evil exists, and I've seen it with my own eyes.
As the search stretches into the fourth day,
Dark
rescue crews work round the clock to find two missing hikers, Deborah Cruz and Mark Canton. The family said they were experienced hikers, and their disappearance is a shock to those who knew them well.
There's people disappearing in this world.
I told them don't go into those woods. I even started putting up warning signs. Them kids listen. Of course they don't. And when them police folk go looking, I don't reckon they'll find much. Poor bastards.
A worried community tonight after a welfare check on August Thorpe early Thursday.
I want to go in those woods. Dude, I want to get in the season and I want to check the woods out. It's going to be a scary season though. I can't realistically do that right away, but I'm excited to what's going on in those woods. I would imagine it would be some kind of zomboid activity.
Thursday morning turned into a missing persons case. State police investigators were called to Woodbury Ave to determine the cause of the 87-year-old sudden disappearance.
Eesh.
Yeah, Mr. Thorpe down the street is a huge weirdo. Kids around here says his house is haunted, and then he went missing. Maybe they were right.
So, who is that?
Disappearance.
Yeah, Mr. Thorpe down the street is a huge...
Mr. Thorpe?
Sudden disappearance.
I'm trying to make up a name.
Yeah, Mr. Thorpe down the street is a huge weirdo. Kids around here says his house is
Mr.
haunted,
Thorpe.
and then he went missing. Maybe they were right.
Everything was fine when we set up camp for the night. It wasn't her screams that woke me up. It was the panicked breaths before. I thought she was having an anxiety attack, and then I heard these wet, snapping sounds. I couldn't help her. I couldn't do anything
Turn
but
into
run.
a zomboid, dude. You gotta get out of there.
Christy, I'm so sorry.
Damn.
When we walk in the light, we walk in the presence of God, guided by His word and filled with His spirit. So let us not fear the darkness, but instead carry the light boldly. For where truth reigns, evil loses its power, and hope is born anew.
Yeah. That was really good. Cinematic masterpiece. Can't wait for this season. Boom. Put my comment in, do my due diligence, make sure I leave a like on that. A link to the trailer will be in the description, of course. What I think of it is pretty good. It's supposed to be a bit more of a like gritty atmosphere this season, you know, like more horror themed. And I'm looking forward to it. You know, they had a pretty heavy emphasis on evil and bad stuff, you know, people going missing in the woods. That was interesting. There's a bunch of people going missing in this, so yeah, there's going to be a lot to go through. Now, to begin the lore, we're going to read through it, and it isn't actually too long. I really like this season's lore. I have read through it already because it's not that long. But the poem, Tiger, Tiger, Burning Bright, in the forests of night. I'm not gonna read it all. Don't worry, dudes. I'm not gonna read like a poem and stuff. You guys get the gist. You can read it yourself and see what you take from it, you know? I'm not really good at reading poems. To me, the lamb, all I can really think about is like maybe it's talking about like bad stuff, sacrifices and stuff, you know? But either way, going into the start of the season, it is 2007, the 8th month, 7th day, and we are at Louisville International Airport. Words flash on the screen in red, and annoyance spreads like a contagion. Flight delayed. Flight delayed. Every terminal, every plane, there's a woman shouting in the departure lounge about her missing connecting flight. The incessant drill of a baby crying echoes at customs. It's a scorching hot August day, and patience is stretched thin. Staff assure everyone that this is only temporary, just a small hiccup in the system. Then, there's a lurching groan in the building, and for a second, the lights all go out. The ground rumbles, and passengers rush to the terminal windows. Someone calls out what they can see smoke in the distance, but no one is sure how far. The backup generator kicks in quickly, and mercifully, the AC starts up again. Outside, the rest of the city isn't so lucky. With no cell reception and the landlines dead, the news of a blackout spreads like the inky twilight gliding across the sky. Announced alongside yet more flight delays. First, it's the whole city, then the state, then maybe half the country. So all the planes getting canceled. No flights, no plane. Planes idle on the tarmac, nobody leaves. It could be over any minute, and they can move on to wherever they're going. So hopefully, things go back to normal. That's the expected start, you know? We're gonna be simulating what it's like to have your flight delayed by a couple or few days. That's gonna be one of my characters. Yeah, that's gonna be me there, that old guy. Picture me that, you know, I'm gonna be walking through the airport in Zomboid and stuff. I'm looking forward to it, you know. We're just hoping to get back on our plane. Everybody's characters are basically set up in a way, so they're in the launch scenario. If you're playing the first few days, then, you know, you were either taking a flight or you're at the airport for some sort of reason. This is a very, like, straightforward start, and I'm hoping for a cool little quarantine zone scenario, but we'll have to see once the season begins. Now, going on to an interlude. Corrine checked her papers for the 100th time that day, trying to ignore the headache that had been stabbing at her temples for the past hour. Typical of all days for a blackout, it would be now. Now that she was finally getting a long overdue interview about a promotion. She'd even put aside her sister's birthday to get this flight, to jump for her first mayor step up in a mediocre career. The first good news of the last 3 years. She spun the wedding ring around her finger, aware that the people nearby were staring. She'd probably come across like a monster yelling at staff like that, but for once she didn't care. This was too important. Today had to go well. Oh, she's stressing about her big day? Okay. Now, Juliet's hands were shaking so much she almost couldn't set the charge. Over the radio, she could hear retracted and retracted, arguing over timing again, their voices distorted by the cheap walkie-talkies and hiss tones. They'd already dealt with a few guards in place. The few who hadn't fallen for the distraction had been quickly dropped with a baton to the temple. Juliet didn't know enough about head injuries to confidently say if they'd live or die. She hoped they'd live. No, you don't. You know what's gonna happen. And yet, it was the only way. They couldn't go on like this anymore. She forced herself to take a deep breath and resume setting the charges. The missing pinky finger on her left hand ached, and the silvery scars of old wounds glinting under the artificial lights. It wasn't meant to be this way. No time for regrets. This was too important. It was their only hope. So they're breaking into somewhere. Sounds like a GTA level heist. It's crazy. And boom, missing person. Oh no. Okay, I do have a quick funny thing to, like, I have to share because it's so stupid. It's so funny. So when the lore like dropped last week, immediately like everybody was looking at it and we were all like going in pretty deep. It's pretty cool, and this is one of like the cooler graphics that they made, like this little missing poster with you know, this kind of like what's it called, thumbnail, the dog pack style. I love it, dude. You know, it looks really good. Now we noticed this blurred out part had a phone number, and you know, one of my buddies, Smokey, he was like, oh, should I call it? And we're in VC, a few of us listening to him. Like, hell yeah, man, call it. You know, I'm like packing a bong, you know, going to smoke it. I got my headphones in, listening, and I'm like heading outside. It's like ringing, and it just brings up a police department. I'm like, oh, that's weird. Because I was thinking, I was like, maybe they got like a voicemail for the season. No, the phone number there was just like the literal Louisville Police Department phone number. Like, I Google searched Louisville Police Department, and it was a match for that number. It was like, oh shit, dude, get off there. You're gonna file a police report, you know? It was like hilarious. We were gonna try to leave Laura voicemails. We really were. Yeah, but we kind of put 2 and 2 together. So then they updated the photo, and now the phone number's blurred out. So funny. But yeah, this is the missing person, Jeanette Pearson. I'm really interested in pursuing this part of lore too, like the missing people and where they went, what happened to them, etc. I think that's going to be cool to, especially if it's expanded upon or like hinted at. So let's go back into reading though. I do want to say though, great work on this. This is one of my favorite parts of like the lore. This has me so hyped. There's people going missing and stuff. Poster looks good, you know. I'm pumped. Agent Stern took his last drag of a cigarette, throwing the stub on the ground and stomping it out. He let the smoke linger in his lungs as long as he could, as if that might chase away the smell of putrid decay wafting out from the edge of a highway behind him. It didn't. Summer deaths were the worst, if only for the smell. He lifted the crime scene tape and walked over to the body. The woman was hidden beneath a sheet now, but it didn't stop the memories of vivid red slices parting pale skin from rising. It was the worst one he'd seen this year, and he'd seen a few, and that wasn't what threw him. The words came unbidden to his mind. I know you. He gestured the nearest uniform over, inhaling to speak and promptly regretting it. Take the tape down. You see the marks? That's a bear attack. You should call the coroner. Get this place cleared up. The police officer was young, and there was a mix of relief and disappointment vying for dominance in his expression, crunching up his nose and drawing down his brows. Oh, I mean, yes, sir. Stern nodded, suppressing a cough from the cigarette and the smell both. The same as the others, but that's right. Tragic, but better than the alternative, right? What? The alternative? The uniform straightened quickly. Yes, sir. Stern nodded again, as if it might somehow chase the guilt away. He didn't look, but he could feel the corpse staring sightlessly through the tarp. An admonition, this can't get out yet. To the family, the media, not until we know what we're dealing with. So we're not even gonna announce that they found her. Okay. The wounds, the smell. She'd been dead for days, at least. So what was she doing dead there? 2,000 miles from where she'd vanished on Wednesday, in the same clothes. There's a way this makes sense, so find it. He couldn't mess this up. It was too important. So someone's trying to crack this case. Someone's trying to figure this out. I don't know if we're talking about Jeanette as the person that he found, or if it's a different woman or a different crime, you know, but we will find out, I would imagine. And now we are at an airport. Jake stared out the window at the rising smoke, for a moment forgetting the incessant tugging of a 4-year-old clinging stubbornly to his hand. The word, Daddy, had nearly lost all meaning over the past 4 hours. Oh, yeah, no, that's the worst. And he made yet another mental note to apologize to Rachel for all the times he'd left her to fly with the kids alone. Next to him, Claire, his 8-year-old, was pressing her nose to the glass, blue eyes wide as she looked at the dark city. The crying from the stroller behind them had mercifully stopped. Jamie had evidently cried himself out, for now at least. Claire caught him looking, and quietly reached for his other hand, expression anxious in the way that only children can be. Do you think everything's alright, Dad? He felt a brief pang of worry. God knows he didn't want to spend the night in an airport. I'm sure it'll be fine, sweetheart. We're not going to miss the flight home, are we? It'll all get sorted out and we'll be home to mom in no time. But Platitude soothed Claire, and he wished it would soothe him too. He didn't want to miss his and Rachel's anniversary tomorrow. It was too important. Ooh, okay. Baby dad's missing anniversary, and he has the kids on him, and they're crying at the airport. Bro, whoever's playing that NPC, bro, that's a stressful time, dude. You'll be strong to get through that. But the hum of the airport continues as the hours tick by. News trickles in. A problem at a local substation, but no indication of why it's spreading across the entire country. Air traffic control is affected all over the place, so nobody wants to launch a plane. The staff are getting tired. No one is going home anytime soon. Not least because this is one of the last places in the city with power. The last glow of a mediocre sunset fades from the city in the west. Welcome to PZRP Season 18. This season, the unlit streets of Knox County hide secrets, and the unprepared are swallowed by the dark. Our threats are more of a supernatural nature, with custom mechanics that help create a horror-centric atmosphere. We encourage everyone to lean in and really roleplay around the weight of the horrors you see, and those you don't. Ooh. So yeah, it's gonna be a very scary season, you know. Not like entirely sure what it means yet. I'm excited to see though, you know. Launch date is this Friday, July 11th. I'm recording on Tuesday. It's 3 days away, maybe a couple days by the time this video gets out, but it's gonna be hype. First day is usually the biggest. I will be online that night, playing it out, seeing what's up, and trying to get together first newspaper if there's anything worth reporting on. And this season will take place on a smaller portion of a largely vanilla map, with a few minor and well-tested additions, alongside new mods that bring unique gameplay mechanics and quality of life features. This is great. There's also some other additions, like it's all been in the Discord announcements tab on the PZRP Discord server. The major changes this season are a little bit of like skill reworking. Engineer was really OP last season, so now they've kind of nerfed it and taken it out and changed some things around. Along with that, aiming is now working a little bit differently, as we only have semi-automatic guns. We're not going to be having a ton of autos across the map, which I think is going to make it a bit more interesting for both PvE and PvP. It kind of like shreds when you can just like mow down you know, hordes of zombies with one clip. Once you get to that aiming level in Zomboid, it feels good, it does, but just the tension that you have in PvP battles and PvE battles could be a bit better this season, so we're gonna see how it goes, you know. I am looking forward to it though. Like, automatics are fun and all. I've played with them each season, but I've noticed in like PvP events and like Hunger Games type settings as well, if you have a bunch of automatic rifles that are spawning around a map, or SMGs, then battles can be like taken out in no time. But if you have a skilled player with a semi-auto, that's even more hype, you know, that's even more crazy. Anyways though, yeah, this season I think is taking place in like the Louisville city part, but I could be wrong, don't quote me on that. I know we're starting at an airport though, that I know. So there will be a short launch event set in Louisville International Airport. So all characters planning to attend need to have a reason to have been in the terminal on the night of August 7th, 2007. The season begins with a mystery to unravel. Everyone knows about some kind of accident at a local power station, and a blackout that's cut most communication with the outside world, but nothing more sinister than that. So that's all we know right now. It's just a simple, oh, like power's out, you know, there's some complications, stuff happens, you know, it's society. Now for this season, we have two different lore groups. These are ones that are announced to us, at least, that we know of. So the first one is Nest. This is a player joinable faction. So if you don't know how these work, the way it's worked, at least in the seasons that I've played, is that normally there's a faction or a type of background, etc., that you can apply for, and this just kind of gives your character a little bit more lore, a little bit more backstory, and also like clicks them up with other lore characters. In this case, it is NEST, which stands for National Emergency Support Task Force. So you can imagine these are going to be the people that are going to be holding down the quarantine zone and holding down things while this whole fiasco or whatever is going on. Because we don't know it's a zombie apocalypse right away. But going into their lore, their slogan is... Ooh, I'm not going to read that, dude. Oh, thank God it's in English. Prepared against all things. America was splintered after September 11th. She was beaten and bruised after Hurricane Katrina. From a landscape of devastation and heartache rose the National Emergency Support Task Force, shortened to NEST. Compromising federal and state employees as well as off-duty military, NEST is a part-time service corp offshoot of the Department of Homeland Security. From community to community, they stand ready to quickly react to major emergencies, such as natural disasters, of terrorist attacks, or such as natural disasters or terrorist attacks. Since the organization's inception, they've lain dormant in the public eye, drilling occasionally for different, sometimes outlandish disaster scenarios. Now, with a nationwide emergency on the horizon, they've been activated to keep the peace. All of that was just for a power outage? Yes, it is. We're all getting on our flights after the quarantine's over. You know, that's how this season's going. That's PZRP, you know? So, the primary in-character goals of NEST are to maintain law and order and provide for the needs of everyday people during the first hours and days of an acute crisis, before a larger scale federal emergency response can be organized. The primary out-of-character goals of NEST, so these are like the player's goals out of characters. Aid in maintaining the serious, horror, and mystery-centric tone of a season, and facilitate and include other players and player factions in interacting, whether by cooperation or opposition, with the season lore. So we can interact with NEST, we can obviously ally with them, or we could go against them. You know, it all depends on how the season plays out and how these characters all interact with each other. So you should apply to NEST. You should apply to be a part of NEST if you're interested in involving yourself deeply in a season lore and its unique gameplay mechanics and being a part of an unfolding mystery. You know, yada yada yada. If I will let you guys know, I did not apply to NEST this season. I'm doing my own thing, dude. We're going with newspapers and stuff. I am trying to help out some newer players. I've already got some character connections established and I'm ironing out a couple more over the next few days, but it should be good. Like, I'm looking forward to it. I'm either going to run my own faction or maybe merge whatever faction I start at the beginning with a few people into another faction. I'll see how it goes. You know, you never know what happens. It's role play. Sometimes things line up, sometimes you gotta move, sometimes you want to go somewhere else, etc. So I'm excited though to see what happens. I'm glad there's going to be a player joinable lore faction involved, because that's a good spot to always go to if you want to get lore, if you want to get RP, or if you just want to hang out and stuff. And like last season, I tried to do as much as I could to help out the faction, even though I wasn't a part of it, you know, see what they need supplies wise, drop off food, other stuff like that. So just add something to the world that I like, you know, should be good. Now, there is also the special lore background. This is a special application. It's already over as of the 4th, but essentially, they do this usually once a season. They give you like a little plot twist or a little, you know, mechanic thing. I don't know how to describe it. I got it in season 16 with a one of the factions, and I had a bit more backstory and pre-known history and personal like relations with one of the factions and their like higher ups who I had to find. So that's just an example of what this could be. I'm not saying it is though, you know, but yeah, that's the special lore background. And then of course there's the FAQ. So of course the theme, I'm not going to read all of these, just a few important ones that I think. Like season 8 team for the theme aims to center a more scary zombie apocalypse experience by focusing on themes of fear, body, and psychological horror, secrets better left forgotten, and all that lurks in the edges of a modern world. It won't be a season where a happy ending is guaranteed or even likely. It may be one where you survive against all odds. So things are going to be crazy. It's going to be severe. It's going to be harsh. It's likely going to be full apocalyptic, like very hard to recover. The end goal is just making sure people can live, you know, they can stay alive, they can enjoy some parts of life. That's the big goal. What are the zombies? Can I use the term zombie IC? Find out in character and call them whatever you want. Obviously, we're going based off of pretty much our history with very little differences. So we could call them zombies, but at the same time, these are going to be real life people that are going to be infected if we end up seeing them. So, you know, it usually becomes a thing where we end up naming them something each season. Zombies is a bit lazy too, you know, so we'll see what we come up with. Now, this season for zombie bites, it does say that all bites should be taken IC. However, while we want to preserve a sense of mystery, this is not a server with mandatory zombie permadeath. So you can expect that it won't kill you, or a cure will be reasonably accessible if it does. So how this could maybe work is perhaps you get bite and your stats are debuffed, you're hurt, you know, you just can't get rid of it until you get a certain thing. We're gonna see how it works. Either way though, zombie bites are to be taken seriously. If you're gonna have to go and fight zombies, you might just want to get those stealth skills up, you know what I mean? Other than that, there's a little bit of differences for RevRP. There's a huge block of text here detailing it, but anyways, this season they're adding in RevRP kits. So every doctor or every person who can do revival or MedRP, they're going to have kits, and they can use these kits to do MedRP or RevRP. Now that means that these kits are not an infinite number, so you can't just pull up to a zone and like revive 8 people, you know. At the same time, it's yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that works. But other than that, there's not too much to go over. The lore this season was really nice, like short and sweet. I really like this season's lore. To be honest, I liked season 16's lore as well. Like I really liked the Hope's Hand stuff with the lore faction and stuff. So there's nothing much about the in-game factions other than Nest right now. I'm hoping to see what springs up from the players though. That's my main interest. Anything we get from NPC wise though is a blessing. In this season, we've gotten a lot of people on lore team who I really think are like set for the role, you know. There's over like a dozen people on there, all of which I believe in. It's gonna be fucking sick. Like server staff wise and I don't know, like server wise, it looks really good. It's pretty much like just hype this season and positivity, good vibes going in. But now lastly, I do have to go into it. I have to show you guys my character for season 18. What are we going to be doing? We're going to be making newspapers, of course. We're an intrepid reporter. Ideally, I'd love to get a setup going, maybe perhaps through like lore tickets and other stuff once I get it written out more and more established in game. See if we can get power turned on, get a computer set up, and then instead of doing newspapers, I could upgrade to doing like web pages and then print out the web page, you know, and use that as like a printout to hand out to people. There's lots of different ways that we can distribute news. I just have to figure out RP ways that it's viable. To start with, we're going to be using Polaroid photos like Instaprints. We're going to be using duct tape. Right, not duct tape, dude. What's that other tape called? Scotch tape, clear tape. Have that over a photo, you know, and then a little bit of text written in pencil. We're gonna work our way up from there. My character though is an inspiration from the legendary Crocodile of season 15. This time I did want to go with something a little bit different, so everybody meet Crocodil. This is my boy. So Crocodil, he is, let me show you, he's German. He wears True Religion jeans, but he's not religious. And this dude is gonna be pumped and ready. He's from Toronto, Ontario. He's 22 years old. He's got a couple wacky face tats. He's trying to become like kind of like a intrepid reporter online, publishing on different forums and news websites, just gaining traction to his name and stuff, you know. I have a huge background written out for him. I'm not going to read it all out for you, but to summarize it, essentially, his family grew up in Canada and then they gave birth to him. while he was growing up in middle school, he met a girl in German language classes, and then they kind of kicked it off in an off and on relationship until like high school and so on. Now, he would learn German and have to attend on the weekends because he was a bit of a troublemaker, you know? My boy did graduate high school, and right from the get-go, he tried to get into reporting, going to different shows, going to different events, trying to report on the underground and the gnarly stuff of the world, exposing the truth that no one else will. It's gonna be fucking hype, okay? Kyle Crocodil is a brand new character. I know he's similar to Kyle Crocodile in many ways, but I've spun him out so much more. Is way different, dude. The RP is going to be way different. He knows German as a language. I don't know how much I'm going to use it. It's mainly just a little bit of flair and extra, you know, for us. But it is going to be hype. This is just my character, though. There have been a lot of characters. Look at this. There's 20 characters on each page, right? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20 characters on each page. And we got 40 characters, 60. We are on to 80 onto this page, and then back to 5. Yeah, we have like about 100 characters already made. Think right around the middle point of like either page 6 or 7 it cuts off. Like some of these people are season 17 characters. Or from before, but I think like I don't know, I think right around here like we have like over 100 character pages already made, so that's pretty hype. I've gone through a few. I think I have to go through some more soon because there's so many more that have been added in the past few days. Let me know if you guys want me to do a video checking out character pages. I might do that, you know, be seen as I'll be looking at them anyways. But that, everyone, is the lore for season 18. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and it helped you break it down a little bit. You had a good time watching it. I'm excited to get into the season. I'm going to try my best to figure out some content. I do want to kind of split it up between Kyle Crocodile RP and Cool Kid Croc. Once I figure out what type of videos I want to make with PZRP stuff, then I might try to shift it over to the main channel where I can make like money and stuff. But this channel is like my pride and joy, you know, it's my baby. And we're working our way up to 500 subscribers right now, so thank you guys for all of that. Either way though, let me know in the comment section below, are you guys going to be watching season 18 or are you going to be playing in season 18? If you're not going to be playing, you know where to watch, you know? Either way though, thank you guys for watching and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.